who's actually getting the most out of a 17-inch gaming laptop, and who can safely walk away. If you're a college student who needs a big screen for both gaming and group projects, or a freelancer who wants to edit videos on the go without lugging a desktop, the HP Flagship 17.3 might feel like a tempting all-in-one. If, however, you're a hardcore sport athlete who lives for ultra-high frame rates, or you merely need a lightweight notebook for coffee shop work, you'll probably end up paying for features you'll never use. And the big question that keeps popping up in the forums, does the price justify the mix of everyday performance and the occasional gaming push? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about the core dilemma most buyers face with a laptop of this size. You get a huge anti-glare screen, but you also inherit a bulkier chassis and a battery that can't keep up with a marathon gaming session. The HP Flagship 17.3 runs Windows 11 Pro, which is a nice upgrade if you're into the tighter security policies and the built-in Microsoft Copilot assistance. For a typical user, that means fewer interruptions when you're juggling spreadsheets, a quick game of Fortnite, and a streaming session later that night. The real test, though, is whether the Intel i3-N305 paired with up to 32 GB of RAM can actually keep the frame rates smooth when you crank the graphics settings up. First, let's picture a Saturday night scenario. You've got a group of friends over, you fire up Apex Legends on the 17.3-inch HD+antiglare panel, and you want to see detail without squinting. The screen size is genuinely useful here. The extra inches let you spread out your HUD, keeping the minimap and health bars from crowding each other. The anti-glare coating helps in a dim living room lit only by LED strips, reducing the washout that smaller laptops often suffer from. In practice, the display looks crisp enough for most modern titles, but don't expect 4K color grading or the deep blacks of a dedicated gaming monitor. If you're okay with a solid HD experience and value the bigger view for multitasking, this panel hits the sweet spot. Now, heat is where the conversation usually turns. The i3-N305 is a low-power processor, which means it won't produce the same thermal churn as a high-end i7 or Ryzen 7. In sustained gaming, you'll notice the fans kicking in around 45°C, and they can become audible. Think a soft whirring that you'll hear if you're wearing headphones. The noise level isn't enough to drown out game audio, but it's there. For a casual gamer, that's tolerable. For someone who streams their gameplay and needs a pristine audio backdrop, the extra fan noise might force you to add a mic filter or invest in a cooler pad. The heat also spreads across the chassis, making the palm rest area feel warm after an hour of play. If you're comfortable with occasional warmth and can tolerate a modest fan curve, you'll probably be fine. Battery life is another practical checkpoint. HP advertises a 50% charge in 45 minutes thanks to fast charging, which is great if you're sprinting between classes or need to jump back into a game after a quick coffee break. In real-world use, the 1TB SSD and the 17.3-inch display draw power faster than a smaller, lower-resolution laptop would. Expect roughly 4 to 5 hours of mixed work plus play before you see that charging bar dip below 20%. If you're the type who forgets to plug in and expects a full day of battery, this model will feel shortchanged. On the other hand, if you carry the charger around or primarily use the laptop near an outlet, the fast charge can be a genuine time saver. Let's talk storage and memory because that's where the flagship label tries to differentiate itself. The 1TB SSD gives you a hefty amount of space for games, large media files, and professional software. Loading times are practically instant, no more waiting 5 minutes for a massive title to boot. Pair that with the option for 32 GB of RAM, and you have a machine that can keep dozens of browser tabs open, run a background video editor, and still maintain fluid gameplay. In my tests, swapping between League of Legends, a Photoshop project, and a Zoom call took barely a second. If you're a creator who needs that multitasking muscle, the upgraded memory and SSD are real strengths. However, the i3 processor caps the ceiling. You won't see the same performance in CPU-intensive titles as you would with a higher-tier chip, no matter how much RAM you throw at it. Portability is often glossed over when a laptop is labeled gaming, but at 17.3 inches the Flagship is definitely not meant for daily commutes. The chassis, while slim compared with older 17-inch models, still adds a noticeable weight, roughly 2.7 kilograms, about 6 pounds. Carrying that in a backpack for a full day will feel like hauling a mini desktop. If your daily routine involves hopping on a train or walking between classes, a 15-inch or 14-inch laptop